Hey there, Denny Grimes here, Naples, Fort Myers, coming with class number 3 of black belt scripting and role play. This is the third of 4 in the series. A lot of you guys probably heard about this through the bold page and your past boldies. It's awesome. There could be some other folks here on the call. I've got some of my regular script professionals that are on. I'm going to be talking about some axioms that I kind of want you guys to kind of understand how the market really works. Because yes, scripting and role play is awesome. We do it every day in our team, at least 4 days a week. The others are, however, understanding what makes the market work. Now, as a review, as people kind of click in here, as you know, my format, my style of chess, if you like that kind of a metaphor, is I believe in doing question-based, listing-enhanced, conversational scripts, and we always follow the same format. I see that my refresh rate on my camera is making a little bit of a mess. You can see that. You can make a note. It's acknowledge, isolate, answer, close. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I want to deal a little bit today with, on the listing side, everyone would like more listing inventory. A listing taken is a listing sold. And we'll be talking about the objection that the seller may be wanting to set the price or asking you what the price is going to be. So I'm going to ask you guys a quick question as I pull up a slide here. I want you to write down a couple of notes. And I trust you can see that. If you can, it's a very simple slide. This is an axiom in the market. This is a concept I'll take a few minutes to explain. Bear with me because it's very important. And that is the market is efficient. Years ago, when I got into real estate, there was no internet, of course. There was barely electricity. We would go to the MLS once a week meeting, and we'd have an MLS book. Some of you guys might remember reading about this in history, or their grandparents about it. And that MLS book came out once a week. It was black and white, one picture, and it had 9 up on each page. And it had a section of new listings and the current listings. That's how we knew about homes for sale. Then after our MLS day, when we picked up our books and we had a few minutes, we're going to hold our house open. That's where the term broker tour started. And so on a Tuesday for the, from 8 until 9, we have the MLS meeting. Then we go from 10 to like 1. We're holding the house open. Now, during that time, in that period, if an agent wanted to see a house, can you imagine there was no internet to go to? There was no download. You physically had to go there. There were no photos of an interior of a home possible. So we had to go and preview property. Preview is kind of archaic now, and for many, many reasons, it's not always. However, it's kind of a waste of time too. So a lot of the real estate theories were established back then. I don't think they work the same now, because what happens is there was a finite number of people walking through a home that actually would be working with buyers. So if you were a seller, what percent of the total population of buyers in the world actually had access to your home? Very, very narrow. That's like you selling your grandfather's watch. It's in your top dresser drawer and nobody knows about it. When I say the real estate market is efficient, it's revolutionary, you guys, because when you actually take a listing and you activate it into the MLS through the IDX, and I'm not going to get brainy on you because I don't even know what it stands for. As you know, it gets populated throughout all the other MLS's websites, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in a matter of minutes or hours, or certainly a day or so, you're in front of the buyer population of the world. Now, what that means is, early on, back in the dark ages, the first example I gave you, you could not tell if you were overpriced or not because it would take some time to get exposed to the market. However, because the market is efficient, meaning there's enough eyeballs on every listing in a relatively short period of time, the market will make a snap judgment about it in any particular market. Write down axiom number 1, the market is efficient. I'll tell you why that's important. And somebody give me some feedback. Sonny, you can see, is this TV showing up where you can see it or not?
Yes, I can see it.
Let me walk you through something that's so simple yet revolutionary. In fact, I'm going to be demonstrating to you what I use in my listing presentation. Remember, this is my style, and I think a lot of people teach it. When I go on a listing, I do not set list prices. I do not believe that's our job to do. I'll explain that. And if you have questions, you can come live and talk to me. We don't have a very big group here. It's 20 people. We might have 30 when we're done. You can type it in. Sonny's watching the chat. I want this to be interactive because this concept I'm about to share with you is fundamental for you being a successful listing agent. It's fundamental for you actually being a good buyer's agent. So let's just talk about how the market works. On this continuum here, you have a price. You can see the yellow line, you see the dollar sign. That vertical axis is price. The bottom axis here is time. And I have an imaginary or a green line you might be able to see arbitrarily placed on the graph. That's top market value.
Denny, excuse me, Denny, can you enlarge the screen?
Well,
you don't have the full focus of our,
It went away. Your big screen went away.
I have it on screen share.
Okay.
I have these slides.
It's back. It's back.
Can you see it? Sonny?
Yes. Yes.
Is it better?
Yes, much.
Groovy. Every property on the planet has a top market value right here. Top market price. Are we okay with that? Now, this is what most agents don't understand. Most agents, or a lot of agents, think it's their job to determine what the market will bear. I believe, and I've asked this to a lot of different agents and very experienced agents, the tippy top price is not a number that's constant. It can fluctuate back and forth a little bit. Like, for example, you could look at your granite countertop in your kitchen, and from the naked eye, it looks perfectly glass smooth. However, when you get a magnifying glass on any type of smooth surface, you'll see it's actually not totally perfectly smooth. Likewise, the efficiency of the market is always kind of doing a little bit of jiggles and joggles, right? It's not a constant straight line. This is a concept I want you to understand. That's why I'm calling this black belt stuff. Even if you're new, absorb this. Come on a call again. Chat with me. I'll help you through this because it's revolutionary. That green line, the top value of any property on the market, cannot be determined via CMA through a comparative price analysis. Now, is there anyone that wants to ask about that or push? You can chat or just unmic yourself. Understand a CMA does not designate top market value. Anybody have anything to say or any questions on that? Feel free. This reminds me when I was in 6th or 7th grade, I had Algebra 1. Mr. Clark was the teacher. Why do I remember Mr. Clark? Because he's the one that used the paddle on me. That's back when they used to whack people. I'm sure I didn't deserve it. And we spent week after week after week on the fundamentals of algebra. I never forget that. Why? You can't get into other algebra until you understand the fundamentals, which I don't remember what they are. However, a CMA is a snapshot on history. That's where the fish were biting yesterday. Experienced agents, you might know this intuitively. When you go out fishing, there's no guarantee the fish will bite exactly the same way. You can trend it. However, understand that the top market value is a line, is a number, not determinable via CMA. Are we good so far? I just changed the graph, and the only thing I've added was a letter A. Now, someone unmute yourself and answer this question. If you were to price a property at position A, most likely, what would happen?
Sit on the market.
I'm sorry?
It would sit on the market.
Yeah, I mean, most likely if it's above what the market will bear, it will sit on the market. Yes or no?
Correct.
Does it matter if you change the drapes? Does it matter if you put in a new kitchen? Does it matter if you remodel the entire thing?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
No. Hang on. It does not matter because all that I'm saying, if it's above what the market will bear, it does not matter. It won't sell. Now, I'm not saying you can't put money into a house and ask more for it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you can't put money into a house and ask more than the market value is.
What if they buy cash?
I'm sorry?
What if they buy cash?
Well, all right. So what if they buy cash? What is that? What do you mean?
I mean, like we seen like a lot of the cash buyer, they buy over the asking price.
Why would they pay more than asking price?
Because they really want the house.
Wait a minute. Hang on. I just caught it. Asking price has nothing to do with that green line.
Okay.
The green line is top market value. It's not asking price. Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up. I want you to be clear. So what I'm saying to you guys, if you have a listing on the market right now and it's not selling, you're somewhere, and I'm not saying you just put it on 10 minutes ago. If it's been on for a decent amount of time, a week or two, or depending on price range, and it's not selling, is it above or below the green line?
Above.
Now that should tell you something, because it took me 10 or 15 years to realize there's nothing we can do to cause an overpriced listing to sell.
Well, Denny, what if there is a neighborhood where within maybe 4 blocks, the houses are ranging from 1.7 to 800,000?
Right? So which one do you want to talk about? The 800?
No, I mean, I'm just asking because you say there's something that would not allow that to sell, where there actually is a neighborhood, you know, with that big of a difference that is moving.
All right, good. Thank you so much for participating, Moses.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. The price, the range of properties that sell, do they sell above or below the green line?
Well, the reason I mention is because I don't know where the green line is with that big of a range.
Well, the green line isn't a number. It's
Per house.
Yeah, that's for every house. Every house has a top market range. I'm not talking about the range of a neighborhood. Because let's take a house. What's the most expensive listing they have in that neighborhood, Moses?
I think it got reduced to 1.6, but they're both the same. They're both like 2 or 3 bedroom, exactly the same, just on different streets, but within a block area.
Let's take the $1.6 million house.
Okay.
There is a top market value on that house, correct?
I'm sure there is. It's not my listing.
I'm sorry?
It's not my listing. It was just a house that I viewed to do a comp.
No, I want you to get this. There's a top market value on every property out there.
Okay.
Even if it's not your listing. Because if there's not a top market value, that means there's no value on it.
I totally understand what you're saying.
Okay, good. So what I'm saying is, let's say the top market for that particular neighborhood is listed for 1.5 or 1.6. Let's say it's 1.5. That's what the market will bear.
Okay.
What I'm saying by definition is, if you list it at 1.6 or some number above what the market will bear, there's nothing we can do to cause that home to be sold. Is that clear?
Yes. I was just trying to understand the difference of how it be so fast.
Other phone. I'm on Zoom on the other one.
Okay, mute. Watch out, Elizabeth. Now, if you want ice and you must put the ice cube trays or I make fun about that all the time. You don't even know what ice cube trays are.
Physics.
Put the ice cube trays in the freezer. The freezer does not make ice. The freezer causes the environment. Physics freezes the water. can you put water, pure water, into a 32 or sub 32 degree environment and it not freeze? No. Now I know you can put salt in it, and there's all kinds of little tricks. You chemists out there, and the ones that used to blow up things with your chemistry set. Is it possible to put water in a freezer that's working properly and it not freeze? Come on, guys, think.
No.
No, not unless you add an additional chemical.
Yes. So I'm talking pure, that's called physics. Is it possible to drop your iPhone, I don't recommend you do it, and it not fall here on Earth, not in the space shuttle?
No.
That's called what? Physics.
Gravity.
Well, gravity is physics. Real estate is the same way. Now notice I've got point B here. Going back to the other slide, point A, that's above the green line. There's nothing we can do.
Wow, that's nice.
There's nothing we can do to cause that house or property to sell. Why? If that's like asking us to make ice by putting the water in the refrigerator and it's 42 degrees. I don't care how long you wait. I don't care how many open houses you have. I don't care how many different ads you run. That water will not freeze at 42. Now, this is important for you guys to understand because I'm letting you know this is black belt crap here, right? This will make you bulletproof on a listing because I remember having listings and I thought I could open house them to death and someday someone would come in and buy it. And after like 6 months of holding open houses 4 days a week and the listing extension holding open houses 4 days a week, I didn't know it was a price. Do you realize there's nothing you can do to cause an overpriced listing to sell? Now, let me stop the presses just for a second. And so you understand this. I know what some of you are thinking. Well, hey, I had that listing, it was on the market for 18 years. And you know, at $450,000 and you know, everything was selling at $200,000 and sooner or later somebody bought it. Listen, I get that. However, by definition, was that over market value for that particular person? No. Now, obviously, when you look at the houses, like Moses just talked about his neighborhood, he's got low-end houses, he's got upper-end houses like we do in the neighborhood I live in and work in. There's a general bell-shaped curve, general distribution of where the sweet spot of that market is. So, and there's outliers. There's things that happen you can't explain. Like the sellers will always remind you the house down the street, Denny, you know, it was smaller and blah, blah, blah. And you think my house should be worth 900. That house sold for 1.2. Is it possible it sold out of the range of normalcy? Yes. However, by definition, it did not sell above that market value for that house and that buyer. Now, it might have sold over the average price for the neighborhood. However, by definition, a house that sells will not sell over what the market will bear, even if the market is one person. What that means is if you have a listing out there, or when you get a listing and it's on the market for any length of time and it's not selling, what's the problem?
Price.
Other than price, what's the problem?
Location?
No. Can you change location?
No.
Oh my
Advertising.
Condition.
All right, let's talk about that a little bit. Condition is not a factor in whether it's priced right or not. Condition is a factor on what the market will bear. Condition changes the level of the green line. Because how many listings have you seen out there for sale or you've had for yourself? They're like model homes. They're perfect. They don't sell. Why? The condition isn't the issue. It's the price. On the other end of the spectrum, how many houses have you seen that like, I wouldn't live here. I wouldn't let my pets live here. Hoarders lived there. And it sells. Why? Because of price. Now, I'm not saying you can't improve the condition to raise the potential market value of a home. However, every home that does not sell It's because it's over the green line for that particular home. Every home that sells, I'll go to the next slide, means it's somewhere at or below the green line for that home.
I have a question.
Yep.
Given that concept, does that green line move while the home is listed? Like you said, it fluctuated. So let's say we feel like it's priced at market price. That's what somebody pays for it, but it has to go up and down a few times before
I know what you're asking.
it sells.
Well,
so is that number fluid as the house is listed? Not because it was overpriced to start with, but because the actual market price for that house changes during the market.
Oops. You're asking a perfect question. I made a slide for it. Maybe I didn't save it. So hang on just a second.
Okay.
Presenter view. Okay. That's why I have the timeline here. Now,
okay.
what Mary Kay is asking is a very astute question. Does it change? Okay. And I can't draw on this. Let me just do this a second. Let me know if you can see this okay.
Yes.
Okay. If this is time, the market we're in now, what's happening to that green line? It's actually going up, isn't it?
Yes.
So over time, yes, the line does shift. Now, I'll be talking about another axiom in a minute. However, sometimes I don't have the timeline there. So just to keep it simple, and this is my listing presentation, guys. I just use it flat. Now, you think the line might be different after 9/11? You think the line might be different after a hurricane goes through, maybe after the election? Who knows? I mean, there's disruptions to the market. However, by definition, let me just say it a different way. Water will not freeze under natural conditions unless you get it into 32 degrees or below. We know that. There's nothing I can do to drop this and make it go up. I want you to be that solid in your understanding. By definition, anything above the green line will not sell. If it sells, it was above the green line for that buyer. Likewise, anything below the green line, did I say will sell or won't sell? Anything below the green line will sell. And this is important because you guys that have had listings and have sold them, and maybe you sold them at the initial asking price, and maybe you sold them like in a matter of a day or two, or you heard about property selling very quickly and they had multiple offers and it went over asking price. What do you think happened? They did not price it above the green line. They priced it below the green line, and the multiple offers came in and got up to maybe the green line. So if every listing out there, if it's worth whatever it's worth, 300 or 3 million, what would happen if you listed it initially at $100? What would happen? Wouldn't you have a frenzy? And wouldn't it slow down the closer it got to the top? Now, you may be thinking, why are you telling me this? Because this is how the market works. That house that I told you about that had open houses all the time, I lost that listing. A smarter agent than me took it over, and then basically what they do, they repositioned. We don't lower prices, we reposition. They repositioned it, and because the market is efficient, it acted. So every listing you have out there that's not selling, it goes to the 1 of 3 things that can happen sheet, which is part of the thing that I want to share with you. And I give you this copy. Some of the guys on the call have already seen this, and this is available to you in a PDF of this. Now, because the market's efficient, you can know because of the efficiency of the market, because water always freezes at the same temperature, because properties always sell below the green line, at the green line or below. You can say this to be a fact. Let me just ask you, if you haven't been on a call with me before and heard this, is there anybody out there would like to guess what the 3 outcomes are? Outcome number 3, I'll give you 3, it sells. However, there's 2 other outcomes that happen or may happen before that you need to let the sellers understand. When you take a listing, there's only 2, okay. I'll just tell you what they are rather than take the time. The first outcome is, and write this down, so in fact, I'll show you right here. When the property receives little action, low to no showings. Low to no showings. So if you list a home, you have a listing now, and you're getting low to no showings, I'm going to ask you a question now, and make sure you're disciples. Don't give me an answer I want. Give me an answer you believe. What's the problem?
You're overpriced.
You're above the green line. What do the sellers think the problem is?
Marketing.
Bingo. The challenge of being an accomplished listing agent is being able to have that dialogue with them up front and then throughout the transaction. And the reason I'm giving you the basics, because I believe that this is black belt material. I would not be able to deliver this in a bold class, because this makes you think. When you understand the green line above and below, now you can confidently say if it's not selling its price. There is an asterisk with that. And I don't want to get too complicated. Remind me to come back to it if you want to hear it. So outcome number 1, low to no showings. Notice you don't say no showings. I'm going to stop because I see some people, I can see your faces. I feel like you're thinking, okay, do I want to go watch the rerun of Perry Mason or stay on this Zoom call? What's going through your brain? Am I losing anybody? Peggy, you good?
Yeah, all good. Waiting for number 2.
Number 2. So what is the solution? Notice if you can see the drawing, and you're going to get this photo. Notice the hook is up here, the fish are here. This is a powerful graphic you can use with your sellers because it's showing you the separation. What does that fisherman have to do in order to find the fish? Lower the bait. In other words, reposition. Now, what's interesting is the seller's going to think it's marketing. My gig, and I teach my guys this part, when you go over this with your seller at the listing appointment, these 3 outcomes, I'll give them to you in a second, then every follow-up you start with this, it conditions them into understanding how the market works. Let's go to number 2. Outcome number 2, the property has showings but no offers. Does anybody have a listing like that now? Speak up. Let's talk about it. Anybody? Moses, Mary Kay, anybody?
No, but that's been the consensus. I mean, I'm pretty aware when, you have in this market where I am, if you have something on the market longer than 10 days without a legit offer, you're priced too high.
Okay.
I mean, it's just plain and simple. Yeah, it's just plain and simple.
Well, the solution for that represents a smaller price adjustment or a smaller repositioning. Outcome number 3, it sells.
Yeah.
That's what the form looks like. Sellers initial ad here. I have this available to you if you want it unbranded. You notice my numbers are not on here. You can brand it. You can use this in your listing presentation. This is the secret of maintaining a listing. That's why when it comes to listing a property, I don't get balled up. I don't get into fist fights over the initial asking price. I let them know, you'll know what to do on how the market reacts. If you have a rash and the doctor gives you a pill to clear the rash on your hand or arm, that pill will work or it won't. Taking the wrong pill longer will not change the outcome. Would you not agree with that?
Yes.
So we have the sellers initial this, and that's how we begin the process. Now, one other thing that's important for me to talk about is this. We use a centralized showing, or maybe it's showing time now, I'm not really sure. We use a computerized, centralized showing service. Now, when you take a listing, sellers love feedback. I'm all about that because, you know, sellers love feedback. I just want you to know there's a trap in a lot of these surveys that you send out, because the pre-printed one, and you can customize it, the pre-printed one will ask the other agent what they think about price. So if anyone here has a feedback form you send out and you ask the other agent about price, I want you to double think that. I don't think you should ask the other agent what they think about price. Now, would anyone want to have a discussion on that? Because I'm sure you guys have some questions. What's going through your brain when you hear that?
They're never going to say it's priced properly. They're always going to say it's too high.
Well, okay. I love that, because first of all, if they're working with if the agent is working with a buyer that likes it, are they going to say it's too low or it's priced just right? And how do they come in with a lower offer, right? However, what can really sabotage us is this, you guys. What happens if an agent shows it and says, oh, it's awesome, I think the price is right. Now the seller sees it. What does the seller do with that to you?
Well, they'll put it in your face, but the response is yes, but they didn't write the offer for that amount, did they?
I know there's a comeback for it. You're totally right about that. However, the issue is over time, when agents keep saying it's priced right, you're actually helping the seller determine who they're going to interview next after they fire you. Why are these other agents liking the house and they think the price is right, and you're saying the price is wrong? You're actually creating a battle you don't have to fight. Now, I never said this way. I want to make sure you understand this. The reason I don't ask what other agents think is because I don't care. I don't care what they think. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what they think, because here's the issue. Do you need someone to come and tell you if your freezer's working? Nope. If you put water in there and it freezes, it's working. So the market works the same way. It's impossible for a well-priced home not to sell in spite of condition. When you say what affects value, I don't care what you say to the buyers and sellers, as long as it's true. You can say location, price, condition, marketing. You can say all those things that you want to say. I just want you to be totally solid on the fact it's price. That's the only thing that makes it happen. Condition will make the price be better. However, it is the price. So on our feedback form, we say, hey, I only ask 4 questions. Is home in optimum showing condition? Yes or no? Is your buyer considering his home? Yes or no? You keep this in home mind for future clients? Yes or no? Open-ended comments. That's it. That's all. So there you go.